Hi, this is Dr. Mark Prine, and this video is about the process of earning a doctorate, specifically here at New Mexico State University, but some of the things that I'll talk about in this video apply across contexts. Actually, I'm just kidding. This is my new Gorilla Kleenex box I got for Christmas. I'm Mark Prine, Associate Department Head for Graduate Programs at New Mexico State. I hope you enjoy this video. The first thing, kind of the procedures and the timeline for earning a doctorate. This is how we do it here at NMSU, but this is similar to other institutions as well. First, you take your classes. Here at NMSU, you have a 7-year clock within which to take your classes. Then you need to, at the beginning you'll be assigned an interim advisor, but you need to select a dissertation committee chair. I would recommend the second or third semester to do that. And so in your first 2 or 3 semesters, have as many professors, regular faculty professors, as you can versus adjuncts or part-time folks to see who you might want to work with, especially taking people that are in the area or areas of interest to you. Then you need to select a committee. I would do this maybe the semester after you select a chair, maybe the 3rd or 4th semester. Then, at least here, you need to pull your committee together. Well, actually, when selecting a committee as well, you want to do that with the advice of your chair. They'll help you with some of the ins and outs. Then you pull your committee together for its initial meeting. I would do this the 3rd or 4th semester. Don't wait until later on. You meet them, they all meet each other, you talk as a group, and you present your program of study to them based on the outlines and what we have in our doctoral handbook for the different program areas. And they need to approve it. Once it's approved, and that's what you're going to study. So it's a good idea to get that done around that time. We don't have one right now, but we are thinking of and probably will institute a mid-program review, which is where about halfway or a third of the way through your program or your courses, we ask to see where you are, how you're thinking, how it's going as we to support your work, but we don't have that yet. Then when your courses are done, and the courses can take anywhere from 2 years, that would be really fast, I can't imagine, usually 3+ years. My whole doctorate took me 5 years, including the dissertation. But classes, they take what they take, but when the courses are done, then you have your comprehensive exam, or sometimes it's called the qualifying exam. That's where you have a written portion and an oral portion. That's based on the coursework you've taken, and also your area of interest. And what that is used for is to show your committee that you've really learned the basics. It's to show them that you can synthesize and understand. Once you've taken your comprehensives, you have a 5-year clock. If you don't defend your final dissertation before 5 years is up, you have to redo your comprehensives. And I think I mentioned earlier, there's a 7-year clock on classes. If you don't finish them by the end of 7 years, they start falling off the back end, so keep an eye on that. After the qualifying exam, you'll do your proposal defense. Now really, hopefully all along you've been doing pieces of your dissertation proposal and working with your chair and working with colleagues or classmates. But your proposal defense comes at that point. Some people will do it the same semester as the comprehensives. It's a lot of work, but some people will. The course in particular, 694 for qualitative and 693 for quantitative. That course is really designed to have a professor facilitate a group of students working with their dissertation committee chairs to help finish writing their proposal. And that class is usually taken your last semester of classes, 693 or 694. At the same time, you've got to be paying serious attention to the IRB, Institutional Review Board, and to the human subjects. You need to take a test online that says you understand why human subject approval is important when you're studying human beings. You need to make an application, your chair, a narrative application, there's a form for it. Your chair needs to approve it, and it needs to go to the IRB for approval. You cannot start collecting data until you have their approval. So you should be familiar with that and working on that as you go along. Then your dissertation. That's when the fun part starts. Really, the classes are a build-up these classes prepare you to be a scholar and conduct a study. The dissertation can take from 1 to several years, with overlap. Here's kind of what goes under doing a dissertation. You collect your data. This can take 1 or 2 or more semesters. I collected data for a little over a year, qualitative data. Then you analyze your data. That can take 1 or more semesters. Then you write up the report. You write up your dissertation. That can take 1 or 2 semesters. And then you defend your dissertation. But here at NMSU and maybe elsewhere, that semester where you defend your dissertation, you have to check what the rules and dates are. Usually it's not at the end of the semester. It's maybe 2/3 of the way through, so you have to plan your timing carefully. Now, collecting, analyzing, and writing up data, these things can overlap, but conducting and completing a dissertation can easily take a couple of years. This is not an advanced master's where you take classes and you're done, or you take classes and then there's the easy part. The dissertation is the major part, so keep that in mind. Okay. Now, the amount of work. How much work is involved in the classes and the whole process? I already went over the timeline and procedures, kind of how long that takes. But when you're taking a class, what's expected? I would say that you should expect to dedicate at least 10 hours of work outside of class per class. The readings in your class, some people get big stacks of books. I know I did, and a few of our professors are renowned for giving lots of reading. You need to take those professors. That's how you prepare. That's how you gain, doctoral level amounts and kinds of knowledge. Read all those books, but those books are just the beginning. You need to comb through the references and the bibliographies of those books to find other books to read on your own. During regular semesters and during break times. This is really your time to develop broad levels of understanding. It's also a very good idea. Did I do it myself? Maybe not. Maybe a little bit. But you really should start to develop an annotated bibliography for everything that you read. That can make it so much easier later when you're composing your proposal, when you're writing your dissertation. That's very important. They even have programs that you can purchase that help you do that electronically and can set things up really well for you. There's 3 areas in the CNI doctoral handbook that also address kind of the amount of work or what you should expect as a doctoral student. So, as I say in many of the videos, email me and I'll send you a copy of our CNI doctoral handbook. You could also find it online if you Google NMSU and curriculum and instruction. It's online. But these 3 sections you should pay close attention to in thinking about the amount of work. The one section is called A Student in Our Doctoral Program, and kind of lay out what we expect of a student in our program. Another section is called the CNI Doctoral Student Checklist. It kind of goes through the things I talked about in the first segment of the video and some other things also. Then towards the end of the handbook, there's a section called the CNI Doctoral Program Process that really carefully lays all of it out. Now, even if you're applying to an institution other than ours, they'll have similar kinds of documents, online, in person, PDF, etc. Another good place to turn to, you should be familiar with this. It took me a few years, even as a professor, to become familiar with it here, but is the NMSU Graduate Handbook. Those are the rules for the university that spell out what it means to be a graduate student and a doctoral student and this kind of thing. So I would have a look at that. That's also available online. You can Google that.